Good morning, artists. Today I am going to show you how to create in the likeness of an Argentinian artist named Maria Eugenia Brusco. And she's from Argentina. And she usually does her artwork on clay tiles. So she'll take a square clay tile and then she will, while it's still soft, she'll be able to carve out her design. And then when it's fired and it's hardened, she'll put her glaze on, and that's how she'll paint her tile. I would like to show you how we can do it with just a black Sharpie and some markers. Now, you could probably draw this all with this marker, just a Crayola marker if you wanted. The only thing that I found is that when I color up against a Crayola marker, sometimes my colors like to bleed together and I might get a little bit of black on my coloring. But you're welcome to use that if you don't have a Sharpie or a black crayon. And you could do this in black crayon at home too. I'm just going to show you some of the shapes that Maria Eugenia Brusco has and give you an idea of how you can fill your paper. One of the things I think is so interesting is she makes very unique looking flowers and birds that aren't traditionally what you would think they would look like. So we would consider this to be folk art. She also uses colors that you may not see in a true flower with stripes or different designs that you wouldn't see in a real flower. The other thing I want you to do when you're creating your art today is to make it really big so that you're filling up your entire paper. Now, I did this art lesson with some kiddos for online art, and we made Mother's Day cards. So you can see that this is in the shape of a card. But today I'm going to actually show you how to do it just on a flat sheet of paper. So I'm going to move these beautiful pictures out of the way so you can just see some of the designs that are in the likeness of Maria Eugenia Brusco. I'm going to move those over here and just show you a few more designs that I have drawn. So you'll see here that this could be one paper that you did. I have a huge flower here. You'll notice that my leaves all have different designs on them. My flowers are, and there's really not a wrong way to do this. If you wanted to add more different designs, you'll look at this one right here. Look, I added these little ruffles down here. You can do that, okay? There's not a right or wrong way. One of the things, though, to make it in her likeness, though, is to draw flowers like she would draw. I love how she's done this one. And the fun part about this is then when you're finished, you can draw one of her little birds on top of it. And I'm going to show you how to draw her birds in a few minutes. And I'll show you an easy way to draw it. Her birds are little, you can make them be any kind of bird with any kind of feather that you want them to be and make that design however it suits you. But by bending her flower, she's allowed that little bird to sit on it, okay? Here are some more. I colored these ones so you can see the different colors. When I choose to color my flowers, I really want to make sure I pick 2 or 3 colors that I really like, and I want to keep them all together so that I'm keeping sort of a pattern going on instead of coloring it 12 different colors. That makes it look more uniformed. Here I've done some different birds for you to look at. Okay, so let's go ahead and start in the likeness of Maria Eugenia Brusco. I'm going to go ahead and start off with all the things that I would want in the front of my paper. So I'm going to go ahead and start off by doing some flowers. If I decide to do a bending flower, I'm going to put that in the back. So it's really important to work in the front. If I've decided I want to put a rock in mine, I want to put that in at the beginning. So this might be a rock. Let me see my colored rock. So it's a unique colored rock, but let's say we want to put a colored rock in. I'm going to go ahead and do that first. Now look at this. I did my flower first and my rock was tucked behind it. How do I know? Because my flower petal goes in front of it. If I draw my rock first, my flower petal cannot go in front of it. So I have to think about these things. I have to plan. So say I want to put a flower here. I'm going to go ahead and draw my stem of my flower. I'm going to put a leaf in here. Maybe my leaf is going to be a little bit different. And now I want to go ahead and put in my rock. So I'm going to go back down here and see how it's going to jump over my rock, all right? So my rock is jumping over my flower, and I'm just going to leave it like that. Put another little rainbow down here for another part of my rock. Now I might want to go through and color each of these a different color. And I'm just making it my own unique style. That's part of being folk art. It's taking something that we would see every day and decorating it and making it full of color. Now, if I'm going to put my flower on here, now I have my flower is going to have to go behind it. In this picture, it goes in front of it because I drew the whole flower first. So you kind of need to plan ahead. How do you want to do that? You'll look at my picture and you'll notice I drew this first because this is tucked behind that and this is tucked behind that. How you choose to draw it is up to you. So now I'm going to tuck my flower behind, and I just jump over it, right? I'm not going to draw a line through there. I'm just going to jump over it. And I'm just going to start adding some details to it. Right, so maybe I'll add a different color onto that one. Maybe I would also like it to come up here and have some details like that on top of it, okay? I'm going to go ahead and add another leaf over on this side. I want it to match because they're on the same plant. My Sharpie is running low. I want it to match because they're on the same plant. So that's why I kept those similar. Now, say I would like to draw a different kind of a flower. Maybe I want to draw a flower that looks something like this round one right here. So I can go ahead and put it anywhere I want to. I don't have to tuck it right here. I can put it way over here, but I'm going to know that I need to fill in my space. That's one of the things that we want to work on today is making sure we fill all of our space up. We don't want to leave a whole bunch of empty white spots way at the top. We want to really fill in that space, whether it is making a bending flower or we make a flower that just pops up like this or like this one. Okay, you can actually, because we're using such a big piece of paper, you could do both of those. So I'm going to start right here, and I'm just going to put in my circular flower. I want to go ahead and make it look as interesting and have some detail in it because the more layers I add, the more I have the opportunity to color, okay? And you can see, boys and girls, I'm going to have to switch my marker here. I'm going to have to go ahead and use my Crayola marker because I don't have another Sharpie out right now. Look at the difference in those colors. Wow. So you can tell when your Sharpie is running low, makes a big difference to have a marker that isn't, doesn't it? That's the same with our colored markers, isn't it? So as I go through and put my petals on, now I can say, oh, I think I would like some little tiny, because I can add another color to that. And by being able to add all those different colors, it really adds interest and depth to my picture. So again, I want my stem to come down. I want to go ahead and add another leaf. This time I'm going to make it more rounded. And I want to think of a different design. So I'm going to do it half of it with a stripe on it and half of it whole without a stripe. Okay? So now I have two different flowers here. Now I can go ahead and add a third flower back here. Maybe I'm going to add another one of the cup flowers. I like drawing these ones. Okay, so I have this cup flower, and on this one, I'm going to put just three little, almost like a little raindrop. Bring my stem down. I can add a pointed leaf, or I can add a rounded leaf. And this one, I'm just going to cut right in half like that. I'll color that one with two different greens. Okay, these leaves are just touching, and that is great for them to do. Up here, I'm going to add cloud lines, sort of looks a little bit like a ruffle at the top of it. And so far I'm looking at this and thinking, okay, I like how many flowers I have, but I feel like I have a lot of empty space in these two places, and I have a little bit of empty space here. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to use this empty space and this empty space to make some tall flowers. And I think the way I'm going to do it is this one here, right over on, oops, sorry about that. Right over on this side, I'm going to draw a flower that looks something like this, okay? And I'm going to have it end here. So I'm going to start off by drawing my oval in the sky so that I know where my stem is going to go. And I'm going to use this space right here to put, oops, I hit my computer, to put my stem. All right, there. See how I've used that space now? Now I can go ahead and make really nice petals on it. Remember, I'm going to jump over any lines that I've already drawn. Look it. See, that's wonderful. Now I can actually put some more detail in it. I'm going to add these little stripes. So when I'm coloring, I can make it look like this blue flower here. Even if I don't color it blue, I can add those two colors in there. And it just gives it a little bit more interest. Right? One of the things that Maria Eugenia Brusco does is she uses a lot of color. And so I really want you to be able to bring a lot of color into your artwork as well. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one now, this empty space I told you about, and I'm going to put our bended flower in there. So I'm going to start by drawing my stem of my flower. I'm going to draw both sides of this just to give myself an idea of what is that looking like. Coming up, and then I'm going to bend it. I've got to make the other half of it. And then I'll go ahead and make my petals. So I'm going to start by making my small center and a larger center. And now I can add my petals. And remember, if it's going to touch somewhere, it's going to skip over. I'm not going to draw through my black lines that I already have on there. So this is going to make it almost finished. The last thing we're going to want to add are our little birds. Now, I haven't left a whole lot of space right here to put a bird, but I could put my bird down here, or I could put my bird here. So I'm just going to show you how you can draw the bird. And I have a lot that I've already drawn that I can show you the differences. You can make tails like this on them. You can make them have a flat end and then add your feathers, okay? You could add feathers that are close. You could add a square feather, or it could just be a tip with these tiny little feathers on it. Okay, so you have choices. Here in this picture, I added a square feather at the end of it. Same with this one. This one has a little round wheel for its wing. This one has a rainbow on it. There's really not a wrong way to do these. This one, I guess I must really like the rainbow because I've done that a lot of times, haven't I? Okay, so I'm going to show you how to draw this little guy. I'm going to actually draw him. He's going to face this direction right now. So I'm going to start by making a tiny little scoop. See that tiny little scoop? I'm going to take this part and go to the back of him and go from the other part of the scoop and go like that. Now I have to decide, am I going to make him have a flat bottom so I can add on a feather like this, or the square feather? Or is he going to have a pointed bottom where he can then have a feather added on like this? So that's where you're going to decide. I'm going to do mine flat, and then I'm going to go ahead and put 3 little feathers like that. Give him a beak. Your eye can be open, it can be closed. You can decide which one you want to do. This one has an open eye on it. This one right here has a closed eye with eyelashes. Mine's going to be sleeping. Give them some little dealy boppers at the top, which are not real. You can color them in or leave them and add a color to them. And then you want to add some kind of wing to it. So I think I'm going to add this kind of wing because it's going along with my rock over here. And it'll tie the two together, even if I don't use the same colors. It'll tie the two together. Okay, so do you see how filled my space is? I really don't have a lot of empty space, and that allows me to leave my background white. Okay, I want to go ahead and add, I had some friends when we did our live art class who added bees in here. So if you wanted to add a bee, I think I drew just this simple little bee to show them. You could do that. But otherwise, I'm going to leave it. Maria Eugenia Brusco does not add those type of things to it, but she just does add a lot of these fine details. And so you can go look her up and Google her, and she will only come up on Instagram or Facebook. She doesn't have an actual website where she sells her artwork. So I'm going to go ahead and color this now, and you can see what it's going to look like when you're done. So I want you to start thinking about colors you're going to use. Remember, I talked about using color families so that you're using cool colors together, or you're using warm colors together. Pick picking 2 to 3 colors to add per flower. Okay, all right, let's get coloring. Okay, boys and girls, so this is mine colored. I see some mistakes that I made. I think that I have too much of the same color green here and too much purple here. This would have looked better if my big part of this was yellow. So you can look at how I would change that. That would be something that would be just a lot brighter and prettier in putting that together. Okay, you can see how I used 2 oranges here and not here. You can also tell, boys and girls, this side of my paper I used the Crayola marker. Can you see how my colors kind of mix together? So you have a little bit of like black in my orange, whereas when you use a permanent marker, that doesn't happen. So it's just a good thing to look at. So I hope you have fun creating. I think you can make tons and tons of pictures using Maria Eugenia Brusco's techniques, and I would love to see what you make when you're finished. Have fun and keep creating all summer long.